I am a double legend, which is very cringe to say. And some of you might be thinking to yourself and asking, how the f did you, Sam the Lemon Boy, the guy that just mods his characters, clear not just one ultimate, but two? And the answer is very simple. I got Now I know that I don't really give off the I play difficult content persona, but trust me, I find myself dabbling in the content which is allegedly played by 1% of the fanbase.
How the fuck does that make any sense?
And due to the lack of new content till the release of Dawn Trail, I decided it would be a great idea to experience what it's like to do an ultimate fight. I have had my own fair share of experiences when it comes to casual dungeons, more casual extremes, less casual savage raids, not so friendly criterions, and a horrid criterion savage. Never again, unless they rework it. So this was going to be a brand new experience to be a part of, finding myself tackling every single phase of a fight and executing it well, if not perfectly. Because naturally, there are going to be a ton of hiccups. And I mean a ton.
Oh, where's my number, bruv?
And by the end of this video, I hope that you too take on ultimates as well. Or tell me that I got carried in the comments below. Oh, and while you're down there, be sure to subscribe to the channel because over 80% of you aren't. Anyways, what was the actual driving force that pushed me to do ultimates? I spent a good portion of time standing about in Limsa, seeing all these edgelords with their ultimate achievements, be it plate designs, titles, or even weapons, and I thought to myself, I could definitely achieve those as well. But also stream content. So I got busy. I began watching some streamers play ultimates here and there, watching a multitude of POVs to understand what in tarnation was going on, and I came to the conclusion that I didn't understand shit. So here comes our hero, LPDU.
Little pussies doing ultimate.
This is the beating heart of ultimate raiding in the EU data center, giving newcomers a good piece of advice over how each raid should be tackled, showing POVs, going over the important details over each fight, and being a big social hub for people to find helpers and proggers alike. And what better way to document my progress than live on twitch.tv/Sam the Lemon Boy. Good shill, king. And it's here that we tackled our first challenge. The Weapons Refrain Ultimate, also known as Ultimate Weapon Ultimate. You guessed that right, that's short for Uwu. In this fight, you tackle Garuda, Ifrit, Titan, and Ultima. And I guess La Habrea too, but he just blows up. And out of all the ultimate fights available, Uwu is probably the easiest for a variety of reasons. Firstly, it's level 70 content, so we get better damage and less worry for min-maxing. Secondly, there are hardly any responsibilities as a DPS and a tank. It's mostly a healer ultimate. Thirdly, it has the least amount of phases with intense mechanics. The only phase with intense mechanics is Ultima, but even those mechanics are not too challenging. But before we even worry about all of that, we have to go through every single phase. Garuda is not really much of a problem to deal with. Kill the ads, dodge the feather rain as soon as you hear her shriek, cleanse the debuffs, stand in the waymark and trust the tanks with your life, kill more ads, and cleanse more debuffs. And out of nowhere, just get run over. Ifrit was not much of a problem either, except for some searing wind incidents every now and again. Trust the ranged players to bait their puddles into the nails, kill the nails in the right order, dodge the dashes, and pass a pseudo damage check, or dodge more dashes. Stick to the walls or get crushed because here comes Titan. Titan is the big wall of Uwu, and not for any other reason than the first mechanic that comes to play. I'm not talking about the dodges, I'm talking about the jails. Don't ask me why they're spelled like that. Which is where the whole meme of the
Allegan, melon.
comes from. Now, here's a small understanding for this mechanic that needs to be said. The arena has a yellow glow to it. The marker that tells you who is going to get jailed is orange, and the prior events to this mechanic forces everyone to stick together, giving you a handful amount of time to stand and let things resolve. But we're in Party Finder, so this is already a recipe for disaster. You can always choose the alternative route of killing all DPS so the remaining 3 players that know how to do the mechanic will consistently do them, or you can have a tool that forces each and every single person, except the main tank, to do the mechanic properly, or suffer the consequences. Back to Garuda, Yahor! But after completing it all, awakening all 3 primals with the cleansing of debuffs, the destruction of empowered nails, and bathing in rock piss, it was time to blow up La Habrea. As for Ultima, well... This is probably the only moment of my time playing this game where I felt like I was fighting a last boss. The build-up, the music, the events that are happening in front of your bare eyes. Ifrit's neck snapped, Titan's heart stabbed, and Garuda's head ate like a burgir. This was it, the final part of the weapon's refrain, and this was the moment to take it home. The first obstacle to tackle was ultimate predation. This mechanic is funny to me because I feel like I'm back in World of Warcraft, always thinking to myself,
You must dodge all the cunts before you champion. And after all that bollocks, you must make your way to the 4th rune, champion. Wait for the screech of the ugly bitch before you go to the marker, champion. Excellent dodging, champion. Ya fucking so.
after that, it's annihilation, or as the community calls it, anime.
What the fuck?
Which catches you off guard if you aren't fast enough. Lots of bobbing, weaving, positioning in places to not get clipped. Finally, the biggest wall of all, suppression. This part can get a little messy, but is also the make or break scenario for almost every PF. The tanks stand like walls. The DPS and healers must identify if they are one of 4 things. Either they are baiting Ifrit's puddles, Garuda's blasts, Titan's jail, or Ultima's light pillar. Titan's jail is applied to one of the 3 people baiting Ifrit's puddles, and the light pillar is given to the person with no bait symbols at all. Simple enough, right? But while you are trying to break the person out of their jail, Ultima is firing lasers on the ground, and again, as a first time, the visual clarity ain't it. After that, you soak some balls after 2 tank limit breaks back to back, and it's off to Genshin Impact. Good old primal roulette. But it's no big deal. Just go from markers 1 to 2 if it's Ifrit or Titan, and if it's Garuda, just stick close by, wait for the AoE, get in the circle, and wait for the shriek, and it's home run for the clear.
Nah, man.
But I will be honest with you, clearing Uwu wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it was going to be. The clear run felt scuffed, mistakes were extremely sloppy, some were out of my control, but a clear is a clear. So I tried again, and well, mistakes were still made, but it was still a good experience nonetheless. But Twitch chat had different plans after this short-lived victory. Today's video is sponsored by Bad Dragon. Welcome to the unending coils of Bahamut, also known as UCOB. In this fight, you take on Twintania, Nail, Bahamut, Twintania and Nail together, and Golden Bahamut. This ultimate isn't that difficult either. It just has a lot of old 14 elements mixed into it that makes it fucky. The inconsistency, the critical tank busters, numerous patterns alongside cursed ones, you name it. Twintania is our first phase, and honestly, it's pretty easy. Just a lot of Twister memes here and there. The KFC sandwich strikes again, and again, and again. This is a reoccurring meme that'll happen in the next 2 other phases. But after a couple of memes, we find ourselves before...
The blazing path led me to Iron Rule, amid a rain of stars, neath a red moon. From on high I descend, the iron path to call, and by the hallowed moon take fire and scorch mine enemies.
Nail Van Darnus. Or, as I like to call her, Snail Snan Snarnus. Nail is the first wall of UCOB, and trust this, there are many walls to come. Nail is a wall for a multitude of reasons, and that is management. You need to be aware of what she says, the debuffs you have, and the order they come in. Oh, and understand the patterns of the dragons above. With enough practice, this becomes second nature, but she can still catch you off guard if you don't manage yourself efficiently. Overall, this is the most fun I've had in a fight. Next comes the deliverer of every single wall of this ultimate. And who else could it be but the very thing that this ultimate is named after? Bahamut. See, in this time of the game's age, Bahamut is the literal mechanic check and not really a boss that depends on how well players push their boutons. Because after a little while of being able to smack Bahamut on his chicken legs, he goes untargetable and you move on to a mechanic. Quick March Trio. Just move and dodge, care for the twisters and stand in the respective place depending on your marker. Black Fire Trio. Stand in the middle and move towards Nail till she blows you up. DPS left, supports right. If you have a marker, go to the southern area relevant to Nail's position, and if you have no marker, wait for Nail to shoot twice at random players before soaking the tower. Fell Ruin Trio. Everyone huddles on Nail and just follow her ERP quotes. Let the tanks take the tethers and sit in the hatch. Heaven's Fall Trio. Now this is the part where everything goes to shit. And remember when I said there are many walls to come? Well, so have I. Heaven's Fall fucking sucks. It's an amalgamation of multiple mechanics stuck together. Dodge the dragons, dodge the twisters, locate the Nail, bait the AoEs, find your tower, get knocked into said tower, and pray. And if you didn't get blown up, then dodge some pizza slices while baiting Nail's Biden Blast away from the middle. Stand in the middle to soak Twintania's gargly spit and mitigate for Giga Flare. It's a lot, and you have to remember that this is PF. So this is already a recipe for disaster. But fast forward many hours of getting fucked in the ass, unlubed, I'd like to add, we find ourselves in 10 Strike Trio. This is alright, besides some hatch incidents that can happen because we love janky game design, or simply dying because you tried to adjust with a solid 200 ping. And then after that, it's Grand Octet, or as we like to call it, the Big Cheese, because it's just running around and tank LBing to skip the entire stack mechanic. And it's off to Twintania and Nail, or as everyone likes to call them, ads. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. There isn't really much for me to say about this fight. A lot of people said it's really difficult, when in reality, it's just very messy and can go wrong way too quickly. Pay attention to what Nail is spitting, and paying attention to when the twisters are about to be served. But other than that, this fight isn't much to look at. Just make sure you kill them at the same time and get ready for the final phase. This part of the fight is the big breather after everything we had just gone through. Having to just manage where the Exaflares spawn and managing your cooldowns for proper defenses for proper occasions. Either a Morn Afa for the group or an Akmorn for the tanks. Bob and weave a couple of times till you make it to the end and become the legend.
We did.
We did it! We're finally free! And there you have it. That is how I became a double legend. And after finally experiencing what it's like to do ultimates of any kind, I have to say that this content is pretty fun and challenging. Though it has this concept of being held to such a high standard when it really shouldn't. In the end, this game's content is made for everyone. Any casual can beat Uwu and Yukov just as I have. Maybe in a shorter span of time or a longer one. It'll be tough, but it is most definitely possible. A huge thank you to the many people who have stuck by me in every single pull, and another big thank you to everyone who watched every pull unfold live on Twitch. Now if you'll excuse me, I've got a date with the perfect being. Nah, shit.